You know, I've been getting a lot of messages ever since I started doing these videos. I guess people got tired of reading some of my blogs. I haven't written anything in a while. I'm gonna get back into that. But I've been getting a lot of messages from people about Blog Talk Radio. And a lot of people are like, man, you need to take your message to Blog Talk Radio. And I was apprehensive. I thought about it, and I talked to a couple of brothers who was interested in co-hosting the show if I was to actually do a show. And I was just playing with the idea. I wasn't really sure if it's something I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to devote myself or commit myself to producing a show each week. And if I was going to do it, I didn't want it to be on one week and then not on the next week. And then I didn't want to do that. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the way it's supposed to be done. And every week, I'm going to do the show. And that was one of the things that I really was concerned about, whether or not I wanted to put in that time. But over the last few days, I've come to a decision. And I decided that starting in June, I am going to indeed launch my Blog Talk Radio. And there's a set of extenuating circumstances that brought me to this decision. One is that in June I'll have more time to devote to actually producing a show each week. So that was the most important thing, is the time factor. The other thing is a series of conversations, and I guess for the lack of a better word, I'm going to call them conversations, that have been taking place on my Twitter timeline. Now, I don't know how many of you are followers of mine on Twitter, but if you're not, I strongly suggest that you do become a follower, because you're going to want to read this conversation that has been taking place by these coons. And I guess there's really no other word that I can call them. And I told people, and this is a video that says I'm going to just deal with my critics. Because very seldom do I take the time to respond to my critics. You know, I don't debate with people in the comment sections. This is something I didn't do on my blogs. You know, and again, I said that I left an open contract out there. If you disagree, you produce a blog, I'll print it. Same with my videos. If you produce a video and it's coherent, it's logical, you put together a good argument, I'll post it. And this is the reason why I left that contract out there, for one, is because I know that no one can refute or deconstruct any of my arguments. That's number one. I can be confident in saying that. And number two, that alleviates me from having to go back and forth with people in my comment section. That's something that I don't do. Every now and then, every blue moon, I may leave a comment, but my practice has always been, I'm not going to debate with you in my comment section. I put the video up, I wrote the blog. If you disagree with it, follow what I left out there for you to do. And so therefore, when you become a follower of mine on Twitter and you read this discussion, and again, like I said, I'm being nice by calling it a discussion, because you still have Afro-American Negroes. Now, again, as I said in my other video, there are black people who are waking up. There are a large segment of black people who are coming to terms with the fact that Barack Hussein Obama has failed, and that he's not what he projected himself as being in 2008. And they are beginning to open their eyes to the reality and how it is that you can have a Negro who claims to love black people, who claims to be the defender of black people, who claims that if you say anything bad about a black person, why, by golly, you got to be a racist. And if you're black and you say anything bad about black people, you got to hate yourself, or you got to be an Uncle Tom. And see, the thing that really puts a hole in that argument is, on one hand, I've had women who've told me via face-to-face or on my blog, if you go read some of the comments, or on my videos, if you read some of those comments, I've had women who've told me that I'm a narcissist. You're arrogant. And you know, you need to come off your high horse. Okay, that's what they say. This is what some female segments have said. But then you got these Negroes who saying, well, you hate yourself. And I'm sitting back and I'm scratching my head. I'm like, well, gee, on one hand, I'm too in love with myself because I'm a narcissist. But then on the other hand, I despise myself. I hate myself. Hey, do you begin to see how this don't make sense? How it don't add up. I mean, on one hand, I'm in love with myself. On the other hand, I hate myself. And the reason why neither one of these arguments make any sense is because they're ad hominem attacks. Whether I love myself or whether I hate myself doesn't take any merit away from my argument. But the Negro will seek to use this tactic every chance they get. If you say anything negative about Barack Hussein Obama, and I've said this in my other classic videos, that it is amazing to me that the Afro-American Negro uses as a litmus test for blackness a man who don't even like black people. And I'm talking about one Barack Hussein Obama. I mean, the Negro has taken him, and if you say anything negative about Barack Hussein Obama and you're black, then you hate yourself. You're anti-black. If you have any critique of Barack Hussein Obama and you're white, then you're a racist. And this is what the Negro used. This is what the Negro has sipped from when the white liberal basically has told the Negro, this is how you argue these points. And when you deal with people, you come across people like this is what you call them, because you can't deconstruct the argument, because the white liberal knows better than anybody that Barack Obama is a failure. But they would never admit it. And the Negro, and I said many of them have woke up. Again, white men woke up in 2012. Many Negroes are waking up, but you still have the die-hard coons, the die-hard minstrels, the die-hard buck dancing, bow jangling, foot shuffling, watermelon slicing, carp eating, catfish cooking, chitlin cleaning, collard green sucking Negro who will sit back and no matter what will not have anything negative to say about one Barack Hussein Obama. And two of these coons that I'm talking about are on my Twitter, and they've been on my Twitter for the last few days going back and forth. And like I said, go to my timeline and you see these guys. Real coon, and that's not his real screen name, but I'm not going to even mention it. And another coon by the name that goes by the name of No Possibilities. And again, like I said, these aren't their real names. These are names that I gave them, you know, simply because of the fact that I refuse to even mention their name. But if you follow me on Twitter, you can read the article. You can see the stupid positions that these guys hold. It's absolutely insane. And when I sat back originally, when these two coons came to my Twitter and they started bombarding my timeline with these defenses of Barack Hussein Obama, I started to block them. And I even sent them a tweet and I told them, look, man, I'm contemplating blocking y'all. But then I said, you know what? No, I'm not going to block them. I'm going to let these coons come out and continue to spew their stupidity. I mean, the one brother says that since Barack Obama has been elected, crime in the black community is down 80%. Now, I'm going to let that sink in because I know what you're thinking. And I'm thinking the same thing when I first heard this savage say this. In Chicago alone, you had Rahm Emanuel toying with the idea last summer of calling in the National Guard because the crime rate was skyrocketing out the roof. So where does this guy get his statistics that crime is down 80% in the black community? All across this nation, if you just Google black crime, you will see story after story of these savages shooting, killing, and maiming one another. maybe, I guess, the only way that you can rationalize and even try to understand this Coons logic is if, I guess, it's only considered a black crime if the person is caught and actually convicted. Maybe he's saying because the perpetrator hasn't been caught, it's not classified as, I mean, I try to rationalize with these guys. I mean, it's hard to do. It's hard to think like these goons think, because actually it's an oxymoron, because to have those positions mean that you don't think. There's no way anybody in their right mind could even promote the position once you understand, or you just watch the news, or you just pick up a newspaper every other day, that you would hold the position that crime is down 80% of the black community since this guy been in the White House. That's completely insane. And then the other coon, what he will say is, well, Barack Obama has done so much for black people, and your arguments about how Barack Obama hasn't done anything for black people is wrong. And he's citing all of these examples, which he believes actually proves the point that Barack Hussein Obama cares for black people. And all I would offer to him is just simple retort to his comment. The unemployment rate in the black community sits around 14%. And it's been that way since Barack Obama's been in the White House. It sits around 14%. And those are the actual people who are actively looking for work. Because if you include the people who just threw their hands up and was like, look, I'm done. I'm not looking no more. I'm not filling out any more applications. I'm not sending out any more resumes. I'm done. If you include that segment, that number goes up higher than 14%. If you include the numbers from your youth, and you include the unemployment rate amongst black youth, I mean, this is unprecedented that you would have a savage who would sit back and applaud this guy when you have an unemployment rate that high in your community, and you got one of your own, I guess you say he's one of your own, sitting in the White House, that you continue to give a pass to simply because he's black. And I said, and I created a video which was going to go for as part 3 of my No Hope, No Change for the Coon. And I began to really understand that y'all don't really like Barack Obama because he's black. I think y'all really like him because he's white. He's half white, rather. And you got this Negro who is so intoxicated off of Barack Hussein Obama. And if you say anything negative, you point out, like with the bombing in Boston. When I sat and watched Barack Obama as he gave a news briefing of what was going on in the event, Obama looked like a deer caught in the headlights. The guy doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, I don't know what else to tell y'all. And that's not because he's black. That's because he's in over his head. The guy don't know what he is doing. And when you look in his eyes, you can just see it. It's the deer caught in the headlights. It's the deer caught in the hunter's crossbow. He has that look of impending doom where he knows himself that I am in over my head. Everybody else knows this. White men has understood this. Certain segments of the Negro community is beginning to grasp this. There are others in America who know that this guy, you know, that American Idol pop candidate that we believed in 2008, who blamed everything on Bush, now that you're your second term in, you can't use that excuse. What's your excuse now, Mr. Obama? Where you said, based upon the economy in your first term, that, hey, if I can't fix this economy in 4 years, I don't deserve a second term. This is what he said. I didn't say that. Fox News didn't report that. This is what Barack Hussein Obama stood and told the American public. But yet and still, with an unemployment rate at 14%, which means he didn't fix the economy for you. He didn't fix the economy for your community. Because your community unemployment rate is skyrocketing out the roof, going. And based upon his own admission, he shouldn't have been reelected. But yet you have these slaves. You have these slaves, these buck-dancing, minstrel-ass slaves who will go out of their way to defend this brother. No matter what failure he encounters, they will find some kind of a way to blame it on Republicans or white racists or people that they deemed as white racists. And white racists in this context is anybody that disagrees with Barack Obama. This is what the Negro does. This is his logic. This is his reasoning. This is what you call barnyard logic. It makes no sense. And when I try to explain this to these two coons who are arguing in my Twitter timeline about Barack Obama, it just points out. That's the reason why I didn't block y'all. And I told y'all when I was about to come do this video, and I sent y'all a tweet, and I told those guys, look, I'm not going to block y'all. I'm going to let y'all continue to just show yourselves to be the utter fools that you are. I'm not going to even block you. I'm going to let you talk and continue to expose yourself as a bojangling, buck dancing, carp eating, catfish frying, watermelon slicing, bojangling, corn silk smoking Negro coon that you are. And I'm not going to block you. But I am going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this argument to the next level. And in June, I'm going to launch my Blog Talk Radio. It's going to be connected to these videos, and it's going to be connected to my blog. All of it's going to be connected together. It's going to be an all-out assault on the political, social, spiritual insanity of the Afro-American Negro, and how in 2013 he is going backwards, a point that cannot be refuted, a point that cannot be deconstructed, a point that no one can come and bring any opposing information that would disprove this premise. And that's just the way it is. I've been saying that for the longest. I really wish there was somebody that could contend with me. I really wish that I could find somebody who can go blow for blow with me in a 12-round bout, but I can't find them. I mean, I understand. I mean, doing these videos and writing those blogs, I really finally understand how Muhammad Ali felt in his early days. When he was completely undefeated. Nobody could defeat the guy. I really begin to understand how Mike Tyson felt when his fights only lasted for 60 seconds in his early days. I understand now how invincible those guys must have felt when they looked at their opponent, and their opponent is shivering in their boots because they already know that they're defeated. And this is how these Negroes are. They know that they can't defeat me intellectually. They know that they can't combat nothing that I'm saying. So their only excuse and their only rationale and their only justification is that you hate yourself, you're Uncle Ruckus, or you hate black people and you full of self-hate. Which is kind of interesting because then on the other hand, you have women telling me that you're a narcissist, you're arrogant, and you need to come off your high horse. I don't really understand how you can be the same, but it is what it is, folks. And this is just the way it goes. So I'm telling y'all. Now, I'm going to wrap this thing up because I got to talk about something else that's going on my Twitter. And like I said, if y'all follow me, y'all can see this stuff for yourself. Now, there's a sister on there who I thought was a sister. All intents and purposes, to me, she looked like she was black. And I often tell people, you know, when I do my videos, and because people criticize me of being anti-black female, and every time I get an opportunity, no matter what sister I talk to, I offer them the same opportunity. Do a video. Do a rebuttal. Take the time, and I don't care what you say. Just do it, and I'll post it. So this one sister, or who I thought was a sister, I was asking her the same thing on Twitter. Well, come to find out that this insane limb brain, her name is Audrey, another Negro, who's completely insaturated with a mental illness. Because when I'm asking her about this black female thing, she says she knows nothing about being black. But yet and still her father's half black. And then you got a lame brain of a Captain Save-A-Ho-Ass simp, a Negro by the name of Derek, who comes in and actually defends this insanity and says, well, you know, if her father is 1/4 Cherokee Indian, then he doesn't have a high percentage of blacks. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, now, Negro, how did you figure this out? I mean, do you understand the slippery slope that you're on when you sit there and try to say this stupidness? How do you determine that her father is only 1/4 Cherokee Indian? I mean, do you got a measuring cup? Do you have some measuring utensils? I mean, how do you figure that out, Coon? I mean, this is the type of stupidity. And these Negroes actually vote. Both of these Negroes call themselves conservatives. I mean, so that lets you know that conservatives, not all of them are where they're supposed to be either. I mean, because if you're going to sit here and actually tell me that you can determine the percentage, since my grandfather was Cherokee Indian, I only have 1/4 Cherokee. This is the kind of insanity, folks, that we're dealing with in 2013. It is completely insane. It is because of these stupid conversations that's taking place. And I haven't blocked anybody. I'm not going to block anybody. I'm going to let everybody say whatever they want to say. That's the way I am. And I've said this in other videos, and I'm going to close this video with saying the same thing. Because I believe in this. I will stand with any Ku Klux Klan, any skinhead, any Aryan Nation. I will stand shoulder to shoulder with them if they were marching and protesting their right to say what it is that they believe. I would stand with them. Now, I could disagree, but I agree with the fact that they have a right to say it. I'm not going to try to censor nobody. I don't believe in censorship. I'm not going to try to shut nobody down because I don't agree with their position. What I'm going to do is engage them in a conversation. And in the process of engaging them in a conversation, we'll have give and take. And if I can deconstruct their argument, which 90% of the time I do, then, it is what it is. But I'm not going to sit there and get upset because I disagree with them and I'm going to try to silence them. No, I don't do that. I don't do that. I will stand with anybody who has a right, guaranteed by the Constitution, to say what it is that's on their mind. I will stand with them. And after that protest is over, I'll pull them aside and I will deconstruct their argument if I disagree with it. But I'm not going to block nobody. So y'all are welcome to come and say whatever y'all want to say. Call me whatever name gets you sleep at night. It doesn't make a difference to me, because at the end of the day, no matter what you think of me, no matter what position you hold on me or think of me or think about me, the fact of the matter is that don't deconstruct my argument. And it don't stop the fact that in 2013, the black race is on a decline. June, Blog Talk Radio. Here I come.